Hey everyone, Stephen Glicker here from Roll for Combat, and I'm just following up from my video yesterday in which I reported from BookScan that the Player's Handbook 2024 last week sold a whopping 3,773 copies. Now, this is according to BookScan, and don't shoot the messenger. I have nothing to do with this number. I just wanted people to be aware because I myself was very curious, especially after they touted in their own PR that it sold more than Tasha's. Now, according to the BookScan, Tasha sold 133,100 copies when it first came out. That is, well, I'll put it this way. If that's how many copies it sold now, it would be number one on the New York Times bestseller list by far. In fact, it would just be number one in probably every category. That is a gargantuan numbers of books sold. And so they're saying that, well, we sold more, which means it should be everywhere. Okay. So I'm going to go through some of the notes I've been seeing. I've been seeing some posts here and there, and I'm going to go through each one of them and try to decipher what the heck is going on here. Okay. How is this possible that everyone thinks this thing sold amazing? WoTC said this thing sold amazing, yet BookScan is reporting a very low number. And I'm going to also show you some weird stuff going on with Amazon in which you can't even find the book and it's nowhere in any lists or anything else. So we're going to go through that. So first of all, let's give some context. Okay, so BookScan, you can look up BookScan. BookScan basically came out, I think, 2001, and it basically is like the Nelson of book sales. And you can subscribe to it. It's owned by a different company now, and they go around and they get book sales from Barnes and Noble, Target, Walmart. Yes, they do get Amazon and something like 800 independent bookstores, Home Depot, pretty much everyone. Home Depot, I know. Pretty much anyone who sells books. Okay, if they sell books and you're a big box store or even a medium store, Books a Million, they will get those reports. So that's the first thing. Do they include flags? Friendly local game stores? Probably not. However, here's the thing. I'm comparing apples to apples. So the very first thing that everyone is saying is that, well, that can't possibly be true because the flags were selling it and they're doing great. Okay, let's say that's true. Let's say that BookScan is vastly underrepresenting game stores and comic book stores, which it can be. It probably isn't included. Let's just say that's true. But that would mean it's true for Tasha's as well. So let's just say you're missing 50% of the sales. Okay, let's just say 50% of the sales are gone. Well, okay, that means then Tasha didn't sell 133,000 copies. Tasha sold 266,000 copies, which then means that the Player's Handbook didn't sell 3,700 copies. It sold like 7,000 copies. You see what I'm getting at? It's an apples to apples comparison. Because I'm using BookScan against BookScan, if they're missing the stores, they're missing the stores on all the reporting, okay? So that's the first thing. Now, does that number seem low? Yes, that number seems insanely low. However, when you look at it a little bit more closely, this might be, I believe it or not, on purpose, okay? This actually might be on purpose. WoTC seems to be going through great trouble to hide these numbers. I'm going to go through that in a second. So I'm going to switch to a little view here. So everyone will agree that Amazon is probably one of the best indicators for sales of, well, pretty much any product, but especially books, okay? So whenever you look at books, you can, look at books and you can look at the Amazon rankings to see where they're at. So there's a couple of very strange things going on. First of all, here's the D&D Player's Handbook 2014. The first thing they did is that it's grouped here as two products under one SKU. That's weird, okay? I was talking to someone who's an Amazon expert, and they said they do that to hide the sales, that they actually can try to hide the sales and try to keep them combined. Also, if you want, it helps with SEO. There's a lot of reasons to do it, but what makes it fascinating is, look here. So the 2014 edition has 53,712 ratings. Okay, that makes sense. It's been around forever. It's been around 10 years, But now, watch this. If we switch to the 2024 and watch up here, watch in the corner where it says books, if you switch here, a couple things happen. Oh, actually, it didn't switch to toys. Let me reload this. This actually was doing this before. Oh, it is. See? Toys and games. There we go. This, not only does it only have 69 ratings, which, by the way, if this thing supposedly sold like insane numbers, that number is way too low. Okay, that's way too low. And it's now a toy and game. So they switched this. They switched this under a new category. It's under the toys and games category. So this is no longer considered a book, and other people have pointed this out. I actually have talked about this in my past videos, and I believe the reason that they're doing this, there's a lot of reasons, but basically, toys, you get a bigger cut of sales if you're selling toys instead of books. Also, books have this thing where they can return unsold product. So, say, Target buys 100 books and they only sell 10 books, they can return 90 books. And that sucks. And trust me, as someone who sells books for a living as a publisher, I know this because I get, everyone gets returns and you just have to give back the money or give them credit. It's terrible. But guess what? You don't do that with games, okay? If they buy 100 games, well, they're stuck with those games. So that's one of the things that I believe that they've been doing, and I said this a couple of months ago, is that they've been recategorizing all the new D&D products as toys. That is also, they get a bigger cut, and you also, whenever you do books, you have to let people know what books you're selling 6 to 9 months ahead of time. With toys, you only have to let people know 6 weeks ahead of time. So that's a whole other discussion. The other thing is, okay, so that's being said, this is a toy. Well, then let's look under the best sellers, okay? So if this is a bestseller, and you can do this on your own, shouldn't it be here? Okay, like if this thing sold 100,000 copies or 133,000 copies, where is it? Why is it not here? It's not listed anywhere, and but Magic's here. Okay, Magic's here, but I don't see it, so it's not listed. All right, so that's weird. So okay, it's not listed under bestsellers. Well, let's look under Amazon bestsellers. Now this is where it gets really strange. Player's Handbook, by the way, this is 2014. If it was listed as a book, it would probably be number 1. It's not even number 1. Heck, it's not even number 2. It's number 3. The Dungeon Master's Guide is number 1, and then the Monster Manual, the Player's Handbook. So what I did is I was curious to see if these rankings. Now these rankings are updated, I think, every hour by Amazon. So I looked at BookScan, and I can't show you BookScan. I can't show you. I get in trouble. But the long story short is I looked at BookScan. I wanted to see. Oh, by the way, this is bestsellers in fantasy gaming. Sorry, I'm going to go to Dungeons & Dragons. Let's just go right to Dungeons & Dragons. Look at this. It's not even listed. It's not even here. Okay, it's not even here. It's not even listed. But I wanted to see if these rankings are pretty much accurate according to BookScan. And sure enough, they are. The Dungeon Master's Guide, according to BookScan, last week sold 704 copies. All right, that's number 1. Number 2, Monster Manual, 668 copies. All right, that's here. Player's Handbook, 2014, sold 587 copies. This book here, The Traps and Dungeons, this sold 546 copies. Let's see. This here, the Game Master's Handbook, this sold 498 copies. You can kind of see where I'm getting at. So these are descending down. The D&D Essentials have been all over the place. This goes anywhere from 500 to 1,000 copies. So this could have been ranked higher or lower depending on the time and day, but right now it's up to 4. But these were ranked in order, and if I keep going down the list, they do continuously go more or less in this order. So, with that being said, if it sold 3,000 copies, it should be number 1 here. But because they moved it to the toy category section, it's not even listed here. Okay, so let's go under new releases. So it should be under here because it is a new release. Okay, this is a definition of a new release. So I'm looking under gaming. It's not here. Okay, where is it? It's not here. Actually, Pathfinder's here, and this came out a few weeks ago. A couple of these things here, and look, this is the D&D book. It's here. Another Pathfinder book, another D&D book. So there's some D&D books, another Pathfinder book. Okay, so these are new releases. Another Pathfinder book. But here's a D&D book, but these aren't, no Player's Handbook. All right, Player's Handbook's not here. So let's go under new releases for toys, because now it's categorized as a toy. We got Magic, more Magic, Pokemon. It's not here, more Magic. So this is really, really, really weird. As I was saying, the person I was talking to, who is an expert at Amazon, said that they are going out of their way to hide the sales. Okay, and this is all automated. This is not something that they can just manipulate, but you can, depending on how you rank it, how you place it, what you label it. There's a lot of ways to actually obfuscate where things are showing up on Amazon. Long story short is, good luck trying to find this, okay? You can't find it anywhere. And if this thing was selling absolute gangbusters, it would be somewhere. It would be on a list, some list, somewhere, but it's not. Okay. So that's pretty interesting. Next is that I was curious to see what the best-selling book of last week was. And the best-selling book of all of last week was sorry, I'm looking it up. Fourth Wing. So Fourth Wing, the paperback. And for those of you who aren't familiar, it's it's a fantasy novel. It sold 101,387 copies. Okay, that's number one. Number one. And if you look at Amazon, I'm not going to bring it up because I don't want to lose my place, but it is pretty accurate. Again, if it's outsold Tasha's, which sold 133,000 copies, that would make it the number one bestseller in the country. Okay, it would be outsold Tasha's according to D&D, according to WoTC. They said it outsold it. Well, it's not even listed, and in fact, the other thing is, I don't know how many copies of these books you think people think that are sold, but it's not that many. Okay, I'm looking at the top 10 rankings. Okay, the number 5 book, The Butcher Game, sold 26,000 copies. Okay, and that's number 5 in the United States. Okay, the entire United States. Number 10, The Wild Robot, Volume 1, sold 18,000 copies. So that's number 10. So it's not like, oh, they're selling millions of copies of books a week. No, like if you sell 10,000 copies of a book in a week, that will put you in the top 50 books sold in all of the United States. Okay, that's how few books are actually sold per week. It adds up. Trust me, it adds up quite a bit over time, but books are not like, okay, they're not selling massive numbers. I'm looking here, number 100, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, sold 6,768 copies. So again, it's not like these books are selling 1 million copies a week every week, or 100,000, or even 10,000. Okay, if you can sell a couple hundred copies of a book per week, that's good. I know it's a little sad when you hear that, but it's true. So, not for nothing, the Player's Handbook over time has sold pretty much over 2 to 3 million copies. That is a gargantuan bestseller. I mean, I'm not putting anything against them, but it does extremely well. Something else is that if you go to the Barnes & Noble website and you search for the Player's Handbook 2024, it doesn't come up. You can't buy it. You might be able to buy it in Barnes & Noble. So some other places do sell. You go to Books A Million, it's there. But my point being is that you can't find it that easily. You can't find it. I couldn't find it at Target, Walmart. I heard they're not even stocking it, from what I heard. And you can't. It's hard to find. It's not showing up on any lists. So what does this all mean? Well, I think people are missing the point. And the point is that, did it sell extremely well? Do I believe what WoTC said? The answer is yes. I actually do believe it sold extremely well. I bet you they've sold hundreds of thousands of copies of the Player's Handbook. And I believe that 98% of them have been online. And this is the thing. This is what they wanted. Okay? They make almost, I've gone through the numbers. Every time they sell a hardcover book, WoTC makes approximately 35% of the cover price. That's it. So if they sell a $50 book, they're making, what's that, like 17, 18 bucks per book? Well, guess what? If they sell that $50 book online, they're making 50 bucks. So they have been pushing very, very hard direct sales, in which again they make 100% of the profit because they're selling it themselves, and they've been pushing D&D Beyond, where yeah, they're selling it for less, but they're still making more money. We are missing the forest through the trees. We should be celebrating that WoTC is doing exactly what they want to do, which is they're moving everyone online, and looks like they're doing a pretty good job of it. Because think about it, Tasha's came out in 2020, not that long ago, less than 4 years ago. As a physical copy of a book, it sold 133,000 copies. I have no idea what it sold online, but I guarantee it was not even a fraction of that. In less than 4 years, WoTC has now managed, according to their own numbers, is the best-selling product in all of history for D&D, that they outsold Tasha's, which they said was their best-selling book ever, and worldwide. By the way, that was just United States. So I'm just going to throw up a number. We'll say 200,000. Okay, I'm guessing here. 200,000 copies of Tasha's was sold worldwide the first week. So we'll say they sold at least 250,000 copies of the Player's Handbook worldwide, including pre-sales, probably including the Gen Con numbers. Everyone keeps saying, what about Gen Con? Yes, Gen Con's another 3,000 copies, including direct sales, which does not get reported to BookScan, including flags, and including, most importantly, D&D Beyond and all of the sales that they put there. So when I look at this and I'm thinking, well, they probably sold 300,000 copies of this book. They sold maybe 10 to 20,000 copies of the book physical. Let's be generous, okay? I'll say 50,000 copies. Okay, if they sold 50,000 copies of the book in the last few weeks between pre-sales and flags, so what's that, 250,000 or something that was sold online? This is exactly what WoTC wanted. And I'm going to keep following this story because I'm actually very interested to see how these numbers go up and down. Oh, there's one more thing, is that Amazon supposedly only reports their numbers to BookScan once a month. I actually don't know if that's true or not. So I'm going to make sure and check the numbers to see if they go up or down. And the reason I was showing you all those lists, because in theory, okay, maybe Amazon has been grossly underrepresented in this number, but then they should be all over these lists. They should be in the bestsellers. They should be in the new releases. They should have tons of rankings and ratings, but they don't. Okay, you can't even find the book on Amazon unless you like look for it specifically. And they go out of their way to change it from a book to a toy. And it's not even listed in the toy section under anything in terms of best-selling or ranking or new releases. So again, I believe that this thing is selling extremely well, and that WoTC is extremely happy with how it's selling, and it's all online, and congratulations. The digital future is among us, and welcome to the future in which everything is going to be online. I don't know about you, but I still got my books, and I still like them. You know, I still keep my books, and I got this huge bookshelf behind me. I do play online, though. I mean, I am one of those people that has a huge bookshelf, and I can count the number of times I've played in person on two hands in 12 years. And I play every week. So it's just the wave of the future. I know a lot of people don't like to hear it. Anyhow, I'm going to continue following the story. Do come back every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern. We have a live show where we interview someone in the industry, and we talk all about D&D and gaming and all that fun stuff. Do like and subscribe if you like what you're hearing. And if you don't like what you're hearing, well, I'm sure you're going to leave me a comment. Anyhow, take care.